Hello students, it's Tim here again. As I mentioned in my previous video, I am making some changes to my courses, all my courses this semester, after doing a brief survey in a couple of my 2-year students. People have been in my classes for 2 years or at Valencia for 2 years. I did a survey and I asked them what their virtual machine experience was. And unfortunately, it kind of fell into two categories. There was maybe 15-20% of students had used it, and a lot of them had not used virtual machines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some basic assignments because it is a very, very valuable skill to you. And it will give you the competitive advantage. I will talk later on in the course about what the competitive advantage is when I use that term. Basically, I'll give you a 30-second overview of it real quick. Basically, when you all apply for a job someplace, you're going to need certain skill sets, and your potential employer is going to be looking for some added bonus in you. So if person A and person B are applying for the same job, and person A may only have maybe a graduation certificate, but person B has a graduation certificate and then certifications, they are probably going to be looked at a little bit more heavily than person A. So the more skills and concepts that you get, especially young, and you can build on, it makes you more marketable. So that's what this is all about. And what I was concerned about is I've been looking for contract work myself. I do a lot of contract work on the side, and a lot of places now, it's a new bubble, are asking for VMware, VirtualBox, and Parallels. So I'm going to basically explain the concept, and it won't take very long, and hopefully I can get you hooked and get you working around and just learning the basics of using virtual machines. And to be honest with you, which one you use is your business. I personally prefer VirtualBox. It's free. There's millions of people that use it. A lot of times in the industry, people use VMware, and you'll see that, and that's fine. They're very similar products. If you know one, you can learn the other one pretty easily. So what I'd like you to start out with is using VirtualBox, because it's just so much easier to use. So anyways, I'll explain the concept, and I'll give you a little demo. So basically what happens is in any type of virtual machine is you have your host machine. Right, and in my case, that's Windows. That's what I got up here on the screen. I'm recording a video, and I have this host machine that's doing all the work. All right, and then what I can do is I can create here. You can see I got a VirtualBox set up. This is Ubuntu 22 server, and this is actually in a virtual machine. So I'll make a little graphic here on the side to explain it to you. It's its own environment. It's its own process. The two systems are separate. Now, the guest, my Ubuntu machine, I can load any version of Linux onto this system, and I'll show you. I got quite a few actually, because I do a lot of research. I do a lot of programming. So what I have here is I have different Ubuntu scenarios. I got a Raspberry Pi. I'm a big Raspberry Pi enthusiast, so I have an image that's in there of that. So I create these servers, and just so you know, because somebody's going to say, what do you mean by virgin server? So that means it's a raw server. I haven't done too much to it. And what I can do is I can back that up, and then I can bring that in and import that appliance, and I have all the system settings and already set up, because it does take a little while to set up, and then I can customize it for whatever my task is at that point in time. So now, where this technology comes in handy, and I think the reason for the boom, we've all heard of the cloud. All these companies that have cloud resources, AWS, Google, Ionis, there's hundreds of them out there. IBM, they basically have cloud services, and what they're doing is they have these big supercomputers, all right, and they got tons and tons of memory in them. They're special computers. They're very expensive, and what they do is they lease people space on that computer to do their activities, especially big corporations, because if you think about how much it would cost a company like Disney or Universal to buy computers, and they still do it, all right, but by using virtual machines, they can do a lot of project work, and they don't have to worry about buying the stuff, putting the infrastructure in place. They're just leasing space on somebody else's computer to do work. So that's kind of how virtual machines work. Now, for us people, especially students, virtual machines are a great tool. You can do a lot of concepts. You can practice setting up home networks. You can practice commands. They're great for a intro to security class, which I'm going to really be pushing in my security class this semester, because I'm going to have you download some images in my security class, and I know that they have bugs in them. I know that they have vulnerabilities in them, and you're going to scan, you're going to look for services, and I'm going to ask you, well, why is that particular computer or that particular server misconfigured? And you're going to go out there and you're going to download this image and you're going to look at it. So you're going to get a little bit of real world experience, but the main takeaway is, and what's important is, you all have to practice. And what's good about a virtual environment is because you create the virtual environment in a guest environment, right? It doesn't harm your host. So if you do something wrong along the way, you're not going to tear up your operating system, right? It's just important that when I assign you some work, make sure you pay attention and do not do any of this on a computer that you do not own. Don't put it on a work computer, and don't use it any other way than what I tell you to. Now, for some courses, like a programming course, you're going to install VirtualBox and you're going to create an image, and that's about it, because I want you to know how to set it up. I'm going to show you how to do some networking settings, and that's pretty much it. Maybe in my capstone class, you're probably going to do something a little bit more advanced that I'll tie into whatever project you're designing, so you can get a little bit more VirtualBox experience. And in my security class, yes, you're going to be using it a lot. You're still going to use TestOut, but I'm going to give you some practical things inside our regular Canvas module that you're going to be going in, and you're going to be analyzing some data, and you're going to just be practicing some tools like ZMap, Nmap, and looking for open ports and stuff like that. Pretty easy stuff. And I think most of you will find it fun. All right. Most of these exercises will probably only take you an hour. It will be some new concepts. As you learn them, you'll get better at it. Just keep practicing them. And, if you go away from Tim Starr's class, don't hesitate in the future to play around a little bit with VirtualBox, because it's a great tool. Thank you. Have a good day.